Today, I have a very special guest with me. I have Dr. Sridevi Tangsale. She is a OB-GYNAC and an IVF specialist. She has 9 years of experience and she's helping lots of young girls do lots of different and, new age technology things where they have certain issues with fertility and, their hormonal profile. So that's where doctor comes in and helps them out brilliantly. So Dr. Sridevi, thank you so much for being a part of the conversation today.
Thank you, Karishma, for having me over.
There is this lot. There is, now with the whole conversation being so much about IVF and so many people now knowing the concept of IVF, there are a lot of questions that a lot of girls have. And through this initiative, we want to be able to help those girls get the right, accurate information from a specialist like you.
Sure.
So, doctor, to begin with, if you could tell us 5 prenatal essentials, like things that can help women prior to conception, anything which is in your top 5 list, if you could help us with that.
Sure thing. So whenever you are planning pregnancy, you must, most of the times you are going through a lot of, questions like, when should we do it, how to go about it. And, to add to that confusion, there are other things, when I should go and meet a doctor and what all things to do. And most of the times young girls are really confused, and even all women are really confused. So what I would say as, the top 5 things, if you ask me, would be first would be appropriate BMI. So a height appropriate BMI, that is very important. You should not be underweight, you should not be overweight.
Absolutely.
Then you need to start on taking your prenatals, that is your folic acid medicines.
Yes.
You need to have a very healthy lifestyle in the form of healthy diet and adequate exercise.
Yes.
And you need to do certain blood investigations before you start off, planning, before you start conception. So the blood investigations include multiple other things, which I'll elaborate more in detail. And then if you ask me, the 5th thing would be stop smoking, alcohol, and drug abuse.
Absolutely.
So these are the 5 most important things which are there, and I'll just run through each one of them right away.
Yes.
So first thing, like I said, would be gaining, you should have appropriate weight. So height appropriate weight is something that is very important.
Yes.
Most of the times we are finding that, most of the women are overweight. So they need to get to an adequate BMI. So if you ask me, somebody who is more than 100 kgs, definitely they need to go down below 100. That is like those who are obese, that for them they have to come down below 100 kgs. That is something that is very important and very essential before they get pregnant, because not only will they have difficulty in conceiving, the pregnancy itself will have many complications.
Yes.
So that is the most important thing first, that if they are more than 100 kgs, they have to go down below 100 kgs.
Yes.
Then we have the zone where they are between 85 to 100, wherein they are overweight, slightly above their BMI, the normal BMI, but yes, they are overweight. So for them, I usually tell them to lose at least 10% of their body. So if you are 88, you lose 8 kgs in next 3 months, and then you are good to go. So this is what I roughly get. So these 2 things are very important, and losing weight in a healthy manner is very important. As you also know that, you don't have to starve yourself. You don't have to go on those crash diets. You don't have to, stop eating or something like that. You need to have a good, you can take help of a good nutritionist or whatever. You yourself find out the way, but don't do any crash diets, or just don't follow any diet facts that you see on the internet or something like that. But take appropriate advice from a qualified person, and then find a diet which is suitable to you. So I have seen not everybody loses weight on keto, not everybody loses weight on intermittent fasting. So you need to find that thing for yourself. That is most important. So that is something that you should keep in mind before you start, decide on planning or having a baby.
Yes.
Then there is another end to that spectrum where the female is extremely underweight. So I get so many young girls who are 38 kgs and they are already pregnant. So then what happens is, now that time I can't do much, but I need to, I tell them how to improve their diet and how to eat well and all that. But they are so grossly underweight that their eating capacity is also limited. They don't gain too much weight in pregnancy also, and what happens is that the baby ends up being smaller in
Underweight.
so even that below weight, like low birth weight baby, so even that is a complication of pregnancy.
Yes.
So we don't want you to be in both the ends. We want you to be in somewhere in the middle where you are, BMI is adequate and you are eating well and you are having a healthy lifestyle. So that is the second thing. Like I said, you should have a healthy lifestyle which includes good intake of fruits and green leafy vegetables. So I always tell my patients, if your diet is a mixed diet, if you're eating more of non-veg, make sure that you increase your green leafy vegetables and have one fruit daily. In India, most of the people are vegetarians, but still, it is something that we need to stress upon more nowadays. Like people are not eating fruits at all; they are not eating vegetables, salads, nothing. So
Absolutely.
yeah, we need to stress on the fact that try and eat one fruit every day. Any fruit will do. No fruit is good and no fruit is bad. Everything is good. So have lots of fruits, have lots of green leaf vegetables, all carrots, beetroot. They are natural sources of folic acid, which comes, we come to the most important prenatal vitamin that we need to take. The lady needs to take is the folic acid. So the folic acid naturally we can get it through sources like the green leafy vegetables, all are palak, methi, and all those things plus carrots, beetroot that has to be included. And with that, I usually start a prenatal medicine of folic acid, one tablet daily. I tell them to start at least for 3 months prior to conception.
Yes.
At least for 3 months. But it is not something that if you are planning and if you have not taken for 3 months, you don't stop planning or something like that. It just needs to be there in your diet. So what we give is a simple tablet. Multiple options are available. We have like how we have in our internet, how we have the 3G, now we have the 4G generation of folic acid also.
Yes.
To know which folic acid is best suited to you, you can obviously consult the gynec, but like a folic acid tablet which is easily available over the counter is something that you can at least start off before you start planning.
Yes.
Importance of folic acid, again I would like to say that it is something that is given in the early part of pregnancy because it helps in development. It prevents neural tube defects. So basically what are neural tube defects are certain conditions in which the fetus's spine is not properly formed, and then they have fusion defects. So they may have multiple birth defects, like the baby fetus may have multiple defects. In order to prevent that, you need to take folic acid prior to conception. So that is very important, another very important prenatal thing. And with that, I would like to come to the next very important, very prevalent thing is stop substance abuse in the form of um, smoking, hookah, alcohol, everything. So you need to basically stop. So there is nothing called as it is safe in pregnancy. None of these substances are safe in pregnancy.
Yes.
You have to stop at least 3 months prior to that, prior to you get pregnant. So that is something that is very important. And like I said, all substance abuses, smoking, even hookah, and even though it is non-tobacco hookah, and obviously alcohol, wine, beer, all those things. That is also very, very, very important.
Yes.
And before, like I said, so with all these things, also you need to do certain blood investigations. So that blood investigations, what I would, recommend is like very basic ones. So you need to get your CPC or your hemogram done, in which you will see your hemoglobin levels.
Okay.
Then you need to get your thyroid function test done, and you need to get your blood sugar levels done, and you need to know your blood. So these are like the very basic ones which you need to do before you plan to get pregnant. CBC hemoglobin should be normal so that once you get pregnant, you don't, the hemoglobin should not fall down, so that you should not have anemia and then multiple complications can occur in the baby and plus for you. Then thyroid and sugar levels are something that have to be in the normal range when you have conceived, and especially in the first 3 months of pregnancy. So what happens in the first 3 months is like, see, by the time you conceive, it's almost like you have skipped your period. So in the baby's life, almost 3 to 4 weeks have already passed.
Yes.
And the 3 to 8 weeks is the time gap in which babies, all organs are made, everything, all what do you call it? The basis of development of every organ system in the body of the baby is already formed. So at that time, we need her thyroid, the mother's thyroid hormone levels and fast sugar levels to be normal
All
for
right.
proper, organogenesis or proper making of organs of the baby. So that is why stressing importance on doing thyroid function tests and your blood sugar levels prior to you plan. So if there is any issue, you can correct it. So by the time you correct everything, and if you conceive, you are in the normal range of these two.
Yes.
So that is something important. And blood group, obviously, I hope everybody knows their blood group, but sometimes you get patients who are ignorant and they don't know their blood group. So there is no such thing that if you and your husband have the same blood group, it's difficult to conceive or something like that. It's just that we need to know if you are Rh positive, Rh negative, and if your Rh factor is negative, we need to do extra precautions. We need to do your husband's blood group as well. So all these things we need to check. That is the only reason we say that we need your blood group as well.
Okay. Thank you, doctor, for that detailed, explanation. You've been very kind to tell us each and every point in detail. Thank you so much for that. Doctor, along with this, any particular kind of vaccinations that the mother who is planning to have a child,
Yeah.
to take?
So if you see, most of us are vaccinated with our childhood vaccinations, and after that we just don't keep track of anything.
Yes.
Three vaccines that I would I would be very, that is something that is has to be taken by everybody. And then I stress on the COVID vaccine, which is something that is relevant right now. So the three vaccines that all females should have taken is firstly the HPV vaccine, the vaccine for cervical cancer,
Yes.
which they should have already taken, because ideally the age group is 9 to 26 years, and most of the times nowadays pediatricians are only giving. But if you have not taken, in an Indian population, we are giving till the age of 40 also. So that is something that you should have already been vaccinated prior to exposure, sexual exposure, prior to onset of sexual activity. You should have already had your HPV vaccine. So that is something that one has to already have. Then there is something called as an MMR vaccine and a varicella vaccine. So MMR is measles, mumps, rubella vaccine, and varicella is for your chickenpox vaccine. So MMR is a single shot vaccine, and varicella you have to take 2 shots 1 month apart.
Okay.
Both of these vaccines can be taken any time of your, any time. It doesn't depend anything about your period cycle or anything. You just go and ask your gynec or a family doctor or anybody that, I'm thinking of getting pregnant. I have not had these vaccines. When can I take a shot? They give you lifelong immunity. You don't have to take a booster like certain vaccines like hepatitis and all. You need to take boosters or typhoid vaccine, but these are like lifelong immunity. You don't have to take any boosters.
Okay.
So MMR and varicella is something that you should have taken, because if you, that is something, these infections are not very common right now, but if you get infected during pregnancy, it can have serious complications.
Yes.
That's the only reason. So these two vaccines, if you have taken, that's very good.
Yes.
And one more thing is, after taking the vaccines, avoid getting pregnant for a month.
Okay.
So make sure that whenever you take any of these vaccines, you give proper history to your doctor, your gynec. If it's not a gynec, to your family doctor, that okay, I am expecting my period. I'll take it next time after I get my period or something like that. So don't take it if you have still not got your that month's period cycle. If you are expecting it next 3 days, 4 days, don't take it. You wait, you get your period cycle and take immediately in the next 5 to 10 days or something like that. So we don't know, you might be pregnant already. So don't risk, avoid the exposure to that vaccine. That is the only thing. So
Yes.
these three vaccinations are something that is crucial, and that is something we have to practice throughout these this thing. Now, what I am coming to is the COVID vaccine. The COVID vaccine is something that is more, relevant right now, and everybody wants to know what to do about it.
Yes.
So, see, like we said, so we have had so many vaccines over so many decades, and they have so many decades of experience, and they have been tested and done. And we have a lot of research and information about these vaccines. So I can speak confidently which vaccine to give, which vaccine not to give, how to give, when to give, what to give. When it comes to COVID vaccine, there is not enough research. Unfortunately, we haven't had the time. Most of them have been approved for emergency use.
Yes.
But when we compare the technologies that each vaccines are using to the technology, where else have the same technologies being used, and what kind of, technique goes into the making of the vaccine. And it has not been studied in females who are pregnant and lactating in India.
Okay.
That's why they are saying no to somebody who is pregnant already. Right now, as we speak, the day we are speaking, they have approved for the use in lactating mothers, so breastfeeding mothers. They are approved,
Okay.
but for pregnant patients, not yet. So, if you are trying to conceive, what do you do? So, what I recommend is usually my patients is husband has to go and get the vaccine as soon as they get the turn. That is, there is no doubt about it.
Yes.
For females, since we don't yet, we are not very sure, what is the, what are the side effects, what is the risk. So, what I usually tell my patients is you ask me. So then I just let them know, based on their last period cycle, whether they're expecting or they have got or have we done any treatment, could she be probably pregnant. So based on that we need to determine. So what I would advise is, ask your gynac, like, okay, this is my period cycle, this is the date that I had my menses, and I'm planning to get a shot, what do you want me to do? That is the best advice that I can give you with respect to the COVID vaccine.
All right. Thank you, doctor. So much information on the vaccines. A lot of girls get confused about this. So thank you for clearing all these doubts for the COVID ones and also the important ones that you mentioned for preconception. Another thing that comes to mind, doctor, with the term preconception is that a lot of women are on birth control pills.
Yes.
They have been prescribed by gynacs to take certain conditions also. So doctor, on the topic of birth control pills, when is a good time, according to you, to wean off the birth control pill if a woman has been taking it? And after how long can she expect to get pregnant post weaning off the birth control pill?
Okay. So first of all, I would like to, just repeat the fact that yes, a gynecologist has to start a birth control. Yes. No self-medications, please, because you need to know certain things before you start yourself on your birth control pills. So that is very important, and they have a very good success rate. So the chances of failure and getting conceiving on a birth control pill are really, really very low. But they don't have any effect which is like fallen over to the next side. So the moment you stop your the pill packet, you can get pregnant in the next month.
Okay.
Because that is the whole idea. See, you are taking a hormone which is there in your body, and you are mimicking the hormonal things that are going on in your body. That is why you are taking a pill every single day.
Yes.
So when you stop taking your pill, you can get pregnant. In fact, a lot of patients get pregnant on the contraceptive pills because they forget to take them. So if you forget to take the pill, again you have a very high chance of conception. So the moment you stop the pill, the next cycle they have no effect. So they don't have any follower effect, to the next cycle.
Yes.
When you stop, you can get pregnant in the next month itself.
Okay.
And for a lot of IVF, IUI patients, we do in fact, give them oral contraceptives for certain other reasons, and then in the next cycle we make them we have their fertility treatment and they get pregnant. So there is don't worry that you have been taking an oral contraceptives for birth control pills for a long time, and this is not it is not duration dependent. Like you might be taking them for 3 years, 4 years, 6 months, 2 months, 3 months. It's not. It's just for that month that they are effective. The moment you stop taking them, you can get pregnant.
All right.
Usually, if you ask me, they take around 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
Most of the times, females conceive in the next 3 to 6 months of stopping the birth.
Okay. Thank you, doctor, for that vital information. Very, very, very informative for a lot of girls to know this, when they are starting a birth control regime. So thank you for that. Also, doctor, on the same note, if a woman has been taking birth control pills over a period of a certain period of time, and she stops it and then she does conceive a child, are there any kind of risks or defects or any kind of problems with then the baby when the baby comes? Is there any kind of thing that you have seen, or you would like to talk to us about that?
So you mean if she has taken birth control pills, and afterwards if she conceives, are there any issues with the baby? Correct?
Yeah.
No, there is nothing like I said, these are very, very low dose hormones. In like the newest oral contraceptives are really low dose ones, and they don't have any side effects on your body. They don't cause you weight gain. They don't cause mood swings. So we have evolved over the years, and we have developed really nice oral birth control pills, which are very safe, and they are very, very nice. The females are very happy with it, and and after they stop, even if they conceive, there is no chance of any harm to the baby whatsoever. Nothing is left over in your body. That's the whole thing. Like, you have to take a pill daily to keep that thing in your body.
Yes.
So don't worry about that. Whatever you might have heard or seen or noticed could be because of some other factor, not
Yes.
because of, the birth control. So don't worry about that.
Fantastic. That is great news, doctor. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's very encouraging for a lot of girls who get scared or, have double thoughts when they have to start something like this. So
I know.
that is very reassuring. Thank you so much. And doctor, so, the last question for today that I have for you is that,
Sure, tell me.
Any personal recommendations, with all the experience that you have had, seeing all your clients also, any personal recommendations that you would like to give women who have infertility issues or who would like to do conception soon, for pregnancy related also, any kind of tips or recommendations if you have for them?
Sure. So what, like I said, first of all, whenever you are thinking of getting pregnant, meet a gynec or a fertility specialist or somebody, who knows what to do, what not to do. In our country, there is very little importance that is given to something called as counseling. So you need to have good, not just pre-conceptional counseling. Like I always say, the counseling part should start before marriage. You need to have a good pre-marital counseling. That is very important, very, very important. So it is very important, you meet your gynec, you tell her, I'm going to get married, this is going to happen, I have these fears, I have this anxiety, and whatever it may be, or maybe I need to get a gynec checkup done, so basic get, like, the idea of going to a gynec for an annual checkup is something that is, not existent in our country, but we need to work on that. And I usually tell my patients, try and come at least once a year. And what I usually tell my patients is have an annual gynec, visit. So even if you are post marriage, keep on meeting your gynec at least once a year.
Yes.
I tell them that, take your birthday month as the month in which you do all your routine blood checks and visit your gynec, visit your dentist, just have a general body checkup, because, it's always prevention is better than cure, like they say. So it's better to, just get it checked. And it's not something that, you should be afraid of, scared of. Just have a discussion. Then, so for preconception is very important that, you go with your husband, go with your partner, and, discuss, we are planning to have a baby. This is what is our lifestyle. And usually what I ask the patient is, how do you spend your day? What is your lifestyle? Where do you work? What is your diet? So all those things. So I get a hang of, what is their issues and how, like, a lot of corporate couples don't have adequate times. They don't spend adequate time together. They don't keep relations. They just use the app, and then, it's more of a programmed sex, which is not something that is healthy. So all these things, their stress, anxiety levels have to be taken into consideration. So those all issues have to be tackled. So a pre-conceptional meeting with your gynec helps a lot. So you can, usually touch upon all these topics, ask them how is their health. Another thing that is important is asking about family history. So asking about family history includes family history of, if her, a couple's parents have diabetes, blood pressure. So if there are any chances of them getting diabetes, blood pressure at an early age, or sometimes, a lot of couples get married late, so even they themselves may have various medical conditions. Like, we need to ask them, have you checked for your sugars? Have you checked whether you have BP? Somebody who is really stressed at work can have very, very high chances that they can have high blood pressure, they can be hypertensive. So we need to control that. Sometimes some GP has already started them on any antihypertensive, which is not safe if she gets pregnant. So we need to change that. Sometimes they are diabetic, they are already started on certain medicines, which we don't know if it is safe or no. So we need to take into account what all medical conditions they can have. We need to ask them, what medicines are you taking on a regular basis? Very common things that I come across is a lot of girls take medicines for acne. So they take isoretinoids and those medicines. So they are not safe. So what happens is a dermat or a GP, GP or a dermat just prescribes it to them, and they take it for 10 days. It's okay. It won't do anything. That's correct. But if those 10 days are falling in her, post ovulation part, and she has conceived in that cycle, it's something that is, really not good for the baby, and it may cause a lot of teratogenic effects to the baby, and it can cause a lot of anomalies in the baby. So what happens is then, luckily if she conceives in that cycle, then there is a doubt that something can be there to the baby. So again, while taking such medications, so you need to know that, if you are taking any medications, always so if you have a fixed gynac, when somebody prescribes you some medicines, you can always go back to her and ask her, okay, so this doctor has prescribed me this. Is it okay if I take it? I've still not got my menses. I'm expecting in next a week or so. So is it okay if I take?
Yes.
Something like that needs to be done. So that is the importance of, having a regular gynac.
Yes.
That is very important. Other than that, if you ask me for specific, sometimes for specific population, like, paramedics or, medical staff, medical personnel, like, radiation exposure, unnecessary x-rays, all those things need to be avoided. So if you have an injury or something like that, always make sure before you go for an x-ray, you have got your periods or not got, whatever it may be. So tell the doctor, if you had a fall or something like that, or if you had some hand injury. So based on the part, so it is something that is case specific, but something that you should keep in mind,
Yes.
that if you have, just don't go for an x-ray if you're thinking of getting pregnant. And if you ask me, the most important thing right now is, don't go, because if you feel you have little cold cough or something like that, just don't go in and get a HRCT done for your chest. It's not something that is, advisable. So very important, the message that is important in all of this is, don't self-medicate, don't do any test by yourself, because HRCT has got really powerful radiation, and it is not good if you're thinking of getting pregnant, and if you could be already pregnant by the time you get it. So do something. All these tests have to be done on the recommendation of doctor.
Yes.
So better to, you ask your gynac or ask your GP, family doctor, anybody, just ask them like, I've still not got my menses, is it okay if I get it done? So these kind of exposures to any gases and all those things, which are, which can affect the baby, are something that you need to be really serious about. And you should not inadvertently get yourself exposed to radiation, X-ray, through HRCT, something like that. So these are the things which I think are quite, relevant right now. And other than the things which I mentioned before, wherein you need to have started with a prenatal and have healthy lifestyle, and maintain, make sure that your health is good before you get pregnant, is what is most important.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Sridevi. You've been so kind, and you have shared a plethora of knowledge with us today. Thank you for, firstly being a part of this conversation, and secondly for sharing such beautiful, important, awareness-oriented insights from, all the kind of experience that you have had. I think a lot of girls are going to listen to this and benefit in many ways by actually getting to know all this knowledge. Thank you so much, Doctor.
I hope so. I'm able to help a lot of people through your through this, and thank you very much, Karishma, for inviting me. And I'm happy I could, these are something which is very basic, and I hope this has helped a lot of, this will help a lot of girls. And if I'm very happy to answer all your questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Doctor.